George Strait's world is more than just music. He's a family man, rancher, an outdoors enthusiast. Curious about the life of George Strait when he's not on stage? Let's explore his hobbies, his beautiful homes, and of course, his lifelong partner, Norma Strait. Stick around for an inside look at this country icon's lifestyle, early life and roots in Texas. First, let's take a little trip back to where it all started. George Strait was born on May 18, 1952, in Poteet, Texas. You know, Texas runs deep in his veins. His childhood was shaped by the wide open spaces of this state, and that connection with the land stayed with him his entire life. Growing up in a small town like Pearsall in Frio County, George wasn't just surrounded by music. He was raised with hard work and a solid foundation in ranch life. His father, John Byron Strait Sr., was a teacher, but he also ran a cattle ranch. Now, that's how George got a real taste of the Texas lifestyle. His weekends and summers were spent working on that ranch with his brother, John Buddy Jr. Even though the family struggles, especially after George's parents divorced when he was in the 4th grade, he remained grounded. He stayed with his dad and worked the ranch while his mom moved away with his sister. And you know what? That ranching life didn't just teach George the value of hard work. It gave him a love for the land that would follow him for years. It also gave him something important: music. George Strait and his musical journey. Now, let's talk about how George Strait transitioned from ranch life to becoming the king of the country. While in high school at Pearsall High, George got into rock music and even joined a garage band called the Stoics. Can you imagine George Strait rocking out to Beatles tunes? He loved that British invasion sound and played it through high school. But things started to change. He was soon drawn to the sounds of country legends like Hank Thompson, Merle Haggard, and George Jones. While he wasn't listening to much country radio back then, the live music scene in Texas was booming, and it's where George discovered his true calling. By the time he hit the 80s, George Strait had mastered his unique blend of country music, traditional, yet fresh. His first big hit, Unwound, came in 1981 and helped kick off the neo-traditional country movement. And trust me, once George hit the charts, there was no turning back. Over the years, George released a massive catalog of hits, dominated country music charts, and became known as the king of country music. By the time he retired from touring, he had 60 #1 singles under his belt. That's no small feat, right? What makes George Strait a legend? What really sets George Strait apart isn't just his voice or the millions of albums he's sold, it's his style, his authenticity. In a world where so many artists try to reinvent themselves constantly, George stayed true to his roots, never trying to chase trends. His cowboy image? That's him. His music? It's a country through and through. But it's also modern enough to connect with the next generation. You can't fake that kind of consistency. His concerts were legendary. In 2014, George held his last big tour, the Cowboy Rides Away Tour, and brought together over 104,000 fans to AT&T Stadium in Texas for a show that will go down in history. He wasn't just performing, he was creating a legacy. And in 2024, George Strait broke his own record by performing in front of 110,000 fans at Kyle Field in College Station, Texas. Now, that's a concert you can't miss. Family first, George and Norma Strait. Through it all, there's one constant: George's deep love for his family. You may not know, but George Strait met Norma, his wife, back in high school. They were young and in love, and it stuck. In December 1971, the couple eloped to Mexico before George enlisted in the U.S. Army. Their relationship has been rock solid ever since. And in 2021, they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. Just think about serenading your wife at a concert with the song "I Cross My Heart" to celebrate that kind of love. That's exactly what George did at his Las Vegas show. Isn't that sweet? But of course, life hasn't been all sunshine. In 1986, tragedy struck when George and Norma lost their daughter, Jennifer, in a car accident at just 13 years old. This heartbreaking event left a mark on the family forever. But George has always spoken fondly of the joy Jennifer brought to their lives. Despite this tragedy, their love as a family stayed strong. They later had a son, George Bubba Strait Jr., who followed his dad's footsteps and became a rodeo cowboy and songwriter. George has even collaborated with Bubba on a few music projects, which is pretty cool, right? A passion for the outdoors. Okay, enough about the sadness. Let's dive into something we can all relate to: hobbies. George Strait has a big love for the great outdoors. This guy is as Texan as it gets, being an avid hunter, fisherman, and golfer. When George isn't dazzling audiences with his music, you'll probably find him at his Texas ranch. He's all about living that country life, doing everything from hunting to team roping. And here's something cool. He co-founded the George Strait Team Roping Classic. It's one of the biggest events in the sport, drawing in fans and competitors from all over. Now that's a real cowboy move. Apart from his superstar status, George is known for keeping his personal life private. Fame doesn't seem to faze him much. When he's not performing, he's enjoying the simple joys of ranch life, far away from the bright lights and noise of showbiz. It's in these quiet moments where George truly feels at home. He finds peace and balance in the stillness of the country, where the only sounds are chirping birds and the rustle of leaves in the breeze. For George, his ranch isn't just a retreat. It's a way of staying grounded. It's where he reconnects with himself and his roots. It's a reminder of what really matters: family, nature, and the simple pleasures of life. Don't we all crave that kind of escape sometimes? George Strait's homes, from mansions to ranches. Let's talk about George Strait's homes, where comfort meets Texas charm. Now, you might think about the king of country in some over-the-top, flashy mansion, right? Not quite. George's real estate choices reflect his love for comfort, style, and staying connected to his roots. First up, his San Antonio mansion, located in the Dominion neighborhood. This 7.250 square foot home is a masterpiece. It features 3 bedrooms, 14 hand-sculpted fireplaces, and an infinity pool that's truly jaw-dropping. Originally listed for $10 million US, it finally sold in 2021 after some price adjustments. While this house is nothing short of stunning, George decided to move on to something even more private and peaceful. Now, George and his wife, Norma, enjoy life in Bourne, Texas. This home is tucked away in the scenic Texas Hill Country, offering a more secluded and serene lifestyle. It's not just about the house itself, but the quiet beauty that surrounds it. A perfect fit for someone who values privacy. But that's not all. George also owns a waterfront retreat in Rockport, Texas, overlooking the Gulf of Mexico. This home is a perfect escape for George and his family when they want to unwind and soak in the coastal vibe. Whether it's the hill country or the Gulf Coast, one thing is clear: George Strait's homes are all about blending luxury with a sense of peace and simplicity. The cars and luxury life. George Strait doesn't just live in luxury, he drives in it, too. His car collection is a perfect mix of classic charm and modern elegance, reflecting his impeccable taste. Back in 2017, he put his 2012 Bentley Continental GTC convertible up for sale, a car valued at a cool $159,000 US. Just think about cruising around in that. The Bentley, with its sleek design and powerful engine, showcased George's love for understated elegance. But that's just one gem in his collection. George also owns a Garia luxury golf car, because why not make your golf outings a little more stylish? For his more casual rides, he's got a 2015 Chevy Silverado 1500 and a 2017 Ford F-150, both known for their reliability and rugged appeal. And let's not forget his early 2000s Chevy Silverado 1500 Single Cab LT, a classic workhorse that stands the test of time. But the real showstopper? A stunning 1959 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz, with its iconic fins and vintage appeal. It's a head-turner that screams old-school luxury. Of course, George doesn't just stick to cars. For longer trips, he hops aboard his Bombardier Challenger 300 private jet. That's our talk about his traveling and style. Beyond his wheels and wings, George is a smart businessman. He's invested in cattle ranching, staying true to his Texas roots, and he even owns straight Texas vodka. This venture not only highlights his entrepreneurial spirit, but also adds another layer to his legacy outside of music. George Strait. Today, a legacy that lasts. Today, George Strait's net worth is estimated at $300 million US. Even though he's retired from touring, his music continues to rake in royalties. That's the power of a true legend. He's still one of the highest-earning country artists, and his influence is felt across generations. George Strait is more than just a country music icon. He's a family man, a passionate Texan, and a symbol of consistency. His life is a reminder that it's not just about fame, it's about staying true to yourself, your roots, and the people who matter most. Whether he's singing about the Texas sky, roping cattle, or spending time with Norma and his family, George Strait is living proof that true success comes when you stay grounded in what you love. And hey, if you ever find yourself in Texas, keep an eye out. You might just catch a glimpse of the king of country living his best life, away from the spotlight, just like he always has. So that's the wrap-up. George Strait's life is as legendary as his music, from his hobbies to his gorgeous homes and his love for Norma. What do you think about his lifestyle? Drop a comment, share this with your friends, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more.